I painting too bleak of a picture for Democrats?
Oh, I think it's a very bright picture. I mean, I love these opportunities for people with actual new ideas to come to the front. And I think the real divide here is one you gestured at, which is it's between tired, poll-tested ideas that kind of try to split the difference between the left and the center. And then there's these refreshing voices of people who seem to actually care about their constituents and have the courage of their convictions. I think that's the real difference here. I mean, look at Bernie Sanders, one of the most popular politicians in America, consistently. And I think the reason people like him, some of the same reasons they like Donald Trump, right?
No,
he is not afraid to make his, he is not
out
afraid to
during
stand
the
behind his
2016 conventions and on the 2016 campaign trail. And we were looking for the unicorn, the guy who, if he wasn't, if he didn't get to vote for Bernie Sanders because Bernie lost in the Democratic primary, he would vote for Trump. We thought it wouldn't exist. It turns out there were a lot of those people. There still are. The issue, though, is at the far end, and I think Mamdani is even farther than Bernie Sanders is in terms of tearing down the establishment, that it opens them up to a whole different level of criticism. Not exactly your traditional political commentator, but Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports with this about Mamdani.
This is one of the worst, scariest candidates. He calls himself a democratic socialist. He's not. He's a socialist. He's closer to a communist. He said it. He's on the record saying he wants to put as many socialists in power so he can seize the means of production.
Okay, so if Mamdani is the face of the Democratic Party, if a candidate like him with these ideas that you're talking about, how does that work in a union hall in Pittsburgh or in Cleveland?
I think it works well, unions are, in fact, a socialist idea, right? So we know that. Like, that unions are actually the fundamental organizing unit of a socialist democracy. So I think in some ways it works in terms of talking about how policies will affect people. I mean, people who are joined a union are already down with the idea of workers owning the means of production, right? So I don't think it's a far jump. And I also think that right now we have to be very clear. Mamdani is very popular in New York. He is a good fit, I think, for the city of New York. And certainly, like, that's what the primary seems to suggest.
If you want New York City to turn into Caracas, sure. Or Havana.
The people of New York seem to think he's a good fit. They seem to like his policies, right? So what they want is what he's presenting, or at least that's what it seems like. And then there are other cities that feel a kinship or find appeal in the policies that are more democratic socialists. And I think that's how democracy works, is local representatives, right?
Well,
I think that other towns and cities won't necessarily appeal.
I think you are onto something about how people in New York are feeling and what he is capturing. What that means is something different.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.